Hey, everyone. Are you getting ready for your fantasy football draft? I know you are. I'm doing the very same thing. And we want you to check out ultimatedraftkit.com. You've got all of our tier breakdowns, printable cheat sheets, all of our sortable rankings, our ADP lists. We've got auction values in there now. This is where we recorded 100-plus player profile videos, and we keep this thing updated all year round, all off-season long, so you can be prepared for your draft, go dominate your draft, and win your leagues. Check out ultimatedraftkit.com.
Hey, this is Abdullah, running back from the Detroit Lions, and you listen to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Andy and Mike in the building today.
Jason's back down with the stomach bugs. This man cannot get it right.
Yeah, you know, there's some similarities between Jason Moore and Jim Gaffigan, because I watched Jim Gaffigan on the on HBO last night, his Obsessed special. And many of the jokes he makes are the jokes that Jason makes, you know, about various pastries.
So Jason is just a con man who's he's a grifter, and he's biting on all the Jim Gaffigan jokes.
Yeah, or life is taking him down a road of just ending up very similar to Mr. Gaffigan.
Hey, I love food, and I love food jokes.
I laughed a lot. It is very, very funny.
He's great.
He's great. So welcome to the podcast. No Jason today. He'll be back for our big episode tomorrow. We have a tips and tricks episode.
It's huge.
Breaking it out. The 2016 episode of this. We like to do this once a year at least, of the 10 tips and tricks you need to know to help you in your league. These are things that you can pay attention to during the year, things you might not be aware of, things that we've done for years that have made us better fantasy football players in our leagues. And
you want to boot camp. Let's say you're getting your friends involved for fantasy for the first time, and you want to throw them through a rigorous boot camp that will get them fit, their fantasy knowledge fit. Check out the tips and tricks.
I was going to say, Jason should miss that episode then. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. We love Jason, and we're sorry that he's in agony at the moment. So we do have a good show today. We have a big-time debate that Mike and I are going to have.
Big time.
About a player that always seems to divide us. And we also are going to be answering a ton of Foot Clan listener questions, trying to get you ready for your league, get ready for keeper decisions, things like that. We also have a bunch of news we want to get into, and we want to apologize to Randall Cobb for skipping him on yesterday's show.
Sorry about that, Randall.
It is what it is. All right, so today's quick question is a little bit different, and we're going to do this once a week. So today's quick question is
It's time for the Fandings.com Debate of the Week.
All right, Fandings.com Debate of the Week.
I've got my gloves on, or should I say off?
You've got them off.
Yeah, I put them on just so I could take them off for this debate.
So we're a bare knuckle debate?
Yes.
All right.
Like a man.
Is C.J. Anderson a top 12 running back in 2016? No.
No. Because I say absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right. So let's debate this, and let's try to do this in a way that is, sometimes we have these fantasy face-off type things, and
they get uncivilized.
They
quickly.
get uncivilized, and they also are like long and tangential. Like, you get 10 minutes to talk, and I get 10 minutes to talk. I'm right, you're wrong.
Okay, I'll take 10. You can have 2.
No, let's just actually debate the merits of C.J. Anderson. I'm going to start, and you can counterpoint, all right? So I'm going to give you the chance to cross-examine. How many years has C.J. Anderson been in the league?
Ooh, I don't know.
That's
I think
4. The answer is 4.
Yes. Okay.
You already lost the debate. How many 1,000-yard seasons has C.J. Anderson put up?
I would say 0.
The answer is 0. Does that concern you, Mr.
No.
Top 12?
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't. Even though you'll knock Doug Martin out of your top 12, despite having 2 monster game-changing fantasy years, we're going to go ahead and give C.J. Anderson a pass. When you have 0, you get a pass.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
All right. Let's hear why. Why is he a top 12?
Here's the deal with C.J. Anderson. The hype was huge and real coming into last season. He injured his ankle immediately, and we have seen plenty of times a running back where we felt strong about them. They sprained their ankle badly, and they continue to play on it. That's the problem with an ankle injury is you can play, but you are a shell of what you can be. During the final 9 games, C.J. Anderson was averaging 6.3 yards per carry. He had a 4.3 yards per carry average in the playoffs. In the playoffs against the best competition that the NFL has, C.J. Anderson was smashing it. And you think, okay, well, how is Ronnie Hillman doing? Final 10 games for Ronnie Hillman, 3.9. 1.7 in the playoffs, because that's what the people have concerns. Well, is Ronnie Hillman going to be involved? They re-signed him. Ronnie Hillman's getting passed on the depth chart by a rookie, Devontae Booker.
A talented rookie.
A talented rookie at that. But C.J. Anderson is also a monster in pass protection, and he's actually an excellent pass-catching running back. You think Ronnie Hillman, scat back, good catching the ball. Well, here's the thing. C.J. Anderson had more receptions than Ronnie Hillman in less games because they trust C.J. Anderson in the passing game. Gary Kubiak loves a workhorse back. When he was in Baltimore calling plays, Justin Forsett, a guy that many of the league had written off, got 66% of the snaps. Justin Forsett.
By the way, this is his 4th year. He's going into it.
Yes. Okay. So and I see C.J. Anderson as the most talented guy on the team. I see Gary Kubiak, a history of Gary Kubiak having great success with running backs and carrying a workhorse running back.
All right. So he did play 15 games last year. So we can blame the ankle, but we also blame the shoulder for Peyton Manning's bad finish the year before. And he came out and showed us it was more than the shoulder that was the problem. I think it's difficult. At a minimum, you have to admit it's difficult to ascertain when it hurt the most. He was still playing. He wasn't good enough.
We had many conversations. So he told me it hurt.
Yeah, and so what? He'll play on an injury now? You have to worry about that as a fantasy owner? He'll play on an injury and underwhelm? Because he had a 720 yards last year, right? 840 the year before. I agree his yards per carry are great. But he's also been put in a position at times to I think, he's an undrafted guy who I think has undrafted talent. I don't think he's a supreme athlete. I think he's looked slow at times. And I think he's never put together a consistent year. I feel like a lot of your arguments break down when you look at why you hate Doug Martin. Now you have C.J. Anderson. You put him in an offense. It's Gary Kubiak. Okay, that's great. You've got Sanchez, Simeon, and Lynch. You have offensive deficiencies that could cause him to have – look, I could see different situations. If they're a great offensive line that finds a quarterback, hey, you know what? 1,000 to 1,200 yards is reasonable. I'm betting on the fact that they're not going to be a very offensively talented team. And that comes down to the quarterback. So
sure.
I'm projecting – offensive deficiencies that lead to C.J. Anderson being inefficient. I think that you will have Devontae Booker involved, Ronnie Hillman involved, and I'm just not going to bet on him. I mean, that's basically my argument for C.J. Anderson is that you haven't done it yet.
Sure.
You haven't made me happy to draft you as a fantasy owner, ever. You've made me happy to start you at times, but that goes for Lindell White and LeGarrette Blount and a lot of other players that if you start him on the right week, you're happy. I don't think he can get there. I don't think so.
It's very fair. I accept the arguments. And the final counterpoint I will come with is an undrafted guy that is slower than most and has an average quarterback. That sure sounds a lot like the Houston Texans.
I know you're going to talk
Matt
about
Schaub and Arian Foster.
I know you're going to bring up Arian. When I say undrafted, you bring up Arian. Except
Certainly
for,
do.
I think
and average quarterback play, I bring up Matt Schaub. Gary Kubiak knows how to run.
We shall see. And
Indeed,
you're in, I'm out. That was the Fandings.com debate of the week. You can debate this exact question. You can contribute to this question and dozens more with other Foot Clan listeners on Fandings.com, where the best sports fans debate sports. This is a brand new app. You got to check it out. Play now at Fandings.com. And when you do, sign up with the promo code Footballers. It's a free app.
Defend my honor, Foot
Just
Clan.
put Footballers in there and then rip Mike a new one. All right. So, listen, you want to connect with us, do it on the web, thefantasyfootballers.com. We're answering a bunch of listener questions that we got from the website. That's easy to do. You can also dial our voicemail hotline 302-464-TFFB. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. I think about 400, 500 more of you are following us on Twitter every day right now.
Love it.
And that says football's back, baby.
Welcome.
Football's
Welcome
back.
in.
We got some preseason games tonight. How many games are on tonight?
I think 4 or 5.
4 or 5?
I can check it
Wonderful. Wonderful. Also, we're giving away some free stuff to the listeners. Check out footclangiveaway.com, giving away an autographed David Johnson jersey right now.
Oof, it is hot.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. And giving away some sticker packs from the show and an Ultimate Draft Kit from ultimatedraftkit.com. Just giving away some stuff. We like to do that.
5 games. 5 games tonight.
5 games tonight. Cool. Let's get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Well, on the heels of our good news about Jamal Charles coming off the pup, we got Jordy Nelson coming off the pup.
This is fantastic news.
You sounded a little...
Why did I go John F. Kennedy right there?
Is that what that was?
Yeah. The news is great. I love this news.
You can get him in your lineup.
Look, Jordy is fantastic. The last time we saw a healthy Jordy Nelson, he's dropping double-digit touchdowns and 1,500 yards. He was just incredible.
Very good news. Can make you feel a little more confident drafting Jordy, to be honest, compared to a guy like right now, Deion Lewis, who I mean, what in the world's going on with Deion Lewis?
I don't know.
He's not practicing despite being in training camp.
Rumors of starting the year on the pup.
Danger.
Yeah.
Danger. Back to Jordy and the Packers offense. We left Randall Cobb off the list yesterday inadvertently. I think he's our number 22 consensus wide receiver. How do you feel about Randall Cobb briefly?
Randall Cobb he's one of those kind of mysterious guys to me where I feel like he's not a wide receiver one, and that I mean that for fantasy purposes, which we've seen him finish as that. I think that Jordy makes everything different for that situation of opening things up so Randall Cobb can really succeed in his niche of football, which is that underneath. So I feel like I've been too low on him. A listener said, "Hey, why is Randall Cobb so low?" And I took a look and I agreed. I said, you know what, he's too low. So I bumped him back up to that kind of low end wide receiver 2 range where I feel very comfortable with him in that area.
Okay. Steve Smith, off the pup.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Look,
You getting surprised?
No, I'm not surprised he's off of the pup, but a double ruptured Achilles, I'll believe it when I see it. And I know that I'm kind of against that mindset of because if you see it, it's too late. But I'm not buying in.
Past is physical. He will practice soon, they said. So very curious to see what happens there with the wide receivers in Baltimore. Pete Carroll said Wednesday the Seahawks, quote, don't know whether Jimmy Graham will be ready for week 1.
I do.
You say he will not.
I say he will not.
Coach Jay Gruden in Washington says Josh Doctson with the Achilles injury is progressing? I honestly thought the word was processing for a minute. Progressing nicely.
Yep, it's good. Look, Josh Doctson to me is not really a redraft type of guy, especially right now. Maybe, he becomes that second half season guy for your team, but right now
it really hurts to miss time right now.
I'm not even drafting him.
Keith Marshall.
Uh-oh.
We talked about Matt Jones on the show. I saw this news a few minutes after we discussed it, decided not to pull it back out. Wanted to bring it up today. Keith Marshall, 7th rounder. Some people think the guy to threaten Matt Jones. He's running with the 4s.
That's not good.
And what I've read is that what you saw in the preseason game extended to the practice field, where he was a very impatient runner. They were very unhappy with him. And, right now you've got Rob Kelly, who's an undrafted free agent running back, cutting into the reps for Keith Marshall, which ring the bell for Matt Jones. If guys behind you are shuffling around,
yeah,
I'm not worried about your work. Now, you could lose it. You can go, fumble the football and run terribly, but it makes me more confident in Matt Jones. And look, I'm going to buy into the value where he's at right now and roll him out there as my 2 if I want to spin those first 4 picks somewhere else, or as my 3 flex running back with upside.
For Matt Jones, the concern of him losing that full-time job is exactly why I just can't fully buy into him. He was very inefficient, had a huge fumbling problem last year. So, no, he did. Look at his
No,
fumbles.
I know, but you buy into Abdullah.
Well, I'm buying into Abdullah as a 7th-round draft pick, not
Fair.
a 4th-round draft pick.
Wait, is that where Jones is going? I thought he was a 5th.
I will double check that right now.
Yeah, I don't. As a 4th, I start to get really scared about that.
But
I feel
he's-
like all the other options around him are
Yeah.
better. And we talked about that yesterday. I think there was only one guy you mentioned in the 5th round that I liked more than Matt Jones.
You're right,
Or less than Matt Jones.
Middle of the 5th right now.
Who's around him?
Right in front of him, Langford, John Stew, and then right behind him would be Matthews and Gordon.
I would take all of those names that you said other than Langford ahead of Matt Jones. I would take Matt Jones ahead of Langford, but I would rather have Jonathan Stewart than Matt Jones. I'd rather have Ryan Matthews than Matt Jones, and I'd rather have
Melvin
Gordon, who I'm very high on. I'm the only one in the world.
No, there's some Gordon truthers out there. They believe. Still believe.
I feel like everybody says, here's how everybody talks about Melvin Gordon. They say, draft Danny Woodhead at the value, and then they say, and maybe Melvin Gordon. Maybe you draft him. I don't know.
Why do they have the prepubescent squeaky voice?
I don't know about it. I don't know about Melvin Gordon.
All right.
Melvin Gordon. All right, let's
Where
move
are
on
we?
here. We're on to
Bleacher Report.
Oh yeah. I put this in here only for Jason's sake.
And he's not even
here. Mike Freeman from Bleacher Report simply hyperbolizes this, but delightful for Lamar Miller owners. He said he's heard from scouts around the league that Lamar Miller, quote, might have a season for the ages.
Everything
Dun,
is
dun, dun.
everything is in line for Lamar Miller.
I believe what Jason has said. I truly believe Lamar Miller is bust proof this year. Doesn't mean he's a top 5 running back, but he's bust proof. I really believe that.
And that's to be bust proof.
You talk
that's
about losing Le'Veon Bell from your list of potential guys. I think the bust proof running backs right now are Adrian Peterson, Lamar Miller,
okay,
and I want to say Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley's bust proof. But those are the only 3 I would put in that category. Is there anybody else that enters that for you?
I mean, I'm extremely confident in David Johnson, but even I will say, sure, there's a 5 to 10% chance of a bust. And when we say bust, we're not talking about he tore his Achilles or his ACL and he's out.
Everybody can bust in. Nobody's bust proof against that.
Look, there is nobody in town behind Lamar Miller, and Bill O'Brien, since taking over for the Texans, has been at least in the top 5 for rushing attempts. And Lamar Miller proved that he's also a great pass catcher. So I agree that Miller is among the short list of bust-proof guys. That he will be, at worst, Lamar Miller will be a running back too. At the very, if everything goes terrible,
no, I
running
agree,
back too.
and he has the potential to be in the top 3. The workload, my goodness, and he catches the ball well.
Yeah, he's very talented.
All right, we've got Malcolm Mitchell news right now. ESPN is reporting he may be the leading candidate for the X receiver job.
Very interesting.
Got to pay attention to that.
He looked fantastic. Malcolm Mitchell.
That's hard to do in the New England offense.
That's the hardest part for receivers going to New England is trying to pick up all the plays, all the timing. Look, Malcolm Mitchell, very bright, almost young man. Is it weird to be like, hey, you're a bright young man?
It's weird, yes, but it's accurate.
I don't
you
feel
old
like,
man.
I don't feel like I'm to the age of calling people a young man.
Well,
maybe
what are you, about 12, 13 years older than Malcolm Mitchell?
Why you gotta do that? Look, last year we were excited for Brandon LaFell just because of the offense. Malcolm Mitchell is a favorite of Matt Harmon's reception perception. You got to pay attention. If Malcolm Mitchell is actually healthy quickly from the elbow dislocation, you need to pay attention to him late in drafts.
Hey, Josh Brown's going to miss a game.
Hey,
Personal conduct policy. Kicker going to miss game 1. Don't draft Josh Brown.
A kicker?
Yeah.
For
don't draft him.
Personal conduct policy?
That's right.
You kick a man?
No. I think he's got some other issues.
Okay, we won't go into it.
Cameron Brate news, always good right now. We're going to talk tight ends on Monday. We're going to have John Paulson on, talk tight ends. And I want to know what he thinks about Cameron Brate.
Yeah, and why this
Winston
is interesting news.
loves him.
And the quote is that it's pretty clear Cameron Brate is one of his favorite targets. Jameis Winston has a history going all the way back through his college days that he loved to target the tight end. So if Cameron Brate becomes the guy, he's going to see a large share of targets that could maybe he sneaks into that back end tight end 1 position, a guy that you can get for free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we like Winston.
Yeah.
We like the offense. We like everything about it, including Doug Martin, right, Mike?
I don't dislike Doug Martin.
No, you personally dislike him. What are you if you disparage someone because of their height? You're a heightist?
Is he short?
Is he short? Is Doug Martin
The
short?
muscle hamster? Is he a small guy?
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's go. Chiefs, Matt Derrick says Jamal Charles has gotten more work in than expected since coming off the pup. Good news.
Great update.
And the 49ers.
Still believe, Andy.
Coach Chip Kelly says the team expects Colin Kaepernick to play in the 3rd preseason game.
The best part of this blurb is they expect Colin Kaepernick, and then in parentheses, dead arm. old dead arm.
Hold on.
Old dead arm
I'm
Colin
gonna
Kaepernick.
tell you right now. I'll make my final determination after preseason game 3.
And I threw
Because
this in
Chip
here
Kelly
so
will
you could
probably
believe.
already announce it by then, so that'll make it easy for me. All right, we're gonna get into the mailbag, answer some listener questions. Look, if you have questions, if you want to walk with us through this season and enjoy your league, we're totally focused on kind of improving everything about your league. Have more fun with the league that you have. Do things better as a commissioner, as a player in your league. The tips and tricks episode tomorrow you need to tune into because we're going to talk a lot about not just strategies, but how to make your league better. If you want to walk with us in this journey, along with about 1,500 other Foot Clan members, check out jointhefoot.com. We release an extra episode only answering questions from the Foot Clan every week on Thursday. We record that one this afternoon, actually. So if you get involved, you can check out that episode and be a part of supporting this show as an independent podcast. So let's go ahead and get into the mailbag.
Mailbag.
I'll give pitch a 10 as always, and I will give volume a 6.
I wanted it to be a little more Michael Bolton. No, not Michael Bolton. Kenny G. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
Michael Bolton would have torn this microphone in half.
Does Kenny G sing?
No, he's a saxophone, but
No, I know.
it's always light and feathery and,
Oh, okay.
and
All right.
delightful.
I feel like I should start like humming some Kenny G. But I won't. All right, Grady in Massachusetts. I'm able to keep basically keep up to 2 players in his keeper league.
All right.
It's a 14-team league, and he has the 2nd pick in the draft. So help him decide here. Julio Jones, Eddie Lacy, and Keenan Allen. He knows he's keeping Julio. So should he use a keeper spot on Lacy or Allen? Because basically, I guess you're giving up those.
He would give up a 2nd pick if he kept a 2nd player.
I probably do not.
I wish I knew if this was PPR, because if it was, then Keenan Allen would be a stone cold lock of the week
Of the century.
I'm probably going to keep one of these guys, knowing that teams out there are likely to keep 2 players. I'm not sure I can get a player of the caliber like Lacy or Allen, and how high I am on Allen, I would keep him.
All right, Steve in Farmington Hills, Missouri. Michigan. We got Michigan there, right? It's an abbreviation. It was quick.
We are the worst.
We are not good. I have the number 3 pick in a 12-team point per reception league. I plan to take Julio OBJ with my first pick.
Excellent.
So either one. What should I look for in rounds 2 and 3? Tempted to take 3 straight receivers to start. Is that a bad idea? Why is he tempted to do that? Tell me. Why do you think that is?
Because it's PPR.
Okay,
In
so
PPR wide receivers just score more points.
is that it? Is that the whole reason you think? It's just like,
Well,
but why do fantasy players get tempted to lock into that type of a strategy before the draft?
Right.
Is it just for simplicity's sake? Like, okay,
Well,
we
I
need
think
wide.
This is just human nature. Look, we love to have a plan. I love a good plan. If I know exactly what's going to happen, I'm basically, okay, when this happens, I'm going to do this, or I will do this. But you can't do that in a fantasy football draft. No matter how many mocks you have done, you cannot account for the human error that is going to take place in your draft, because it will happen.
Yeah, some idiot's going to draft C.J. Anderson.
Exactly. And that is me.
Right. Letting somebody else drop to you. No, is that a bad idea? Not necessarily.
No, if the right guys are falling to you, then it's okay. And So here to answer your question a little bit more. So the number 1 PPR running back last year, Devontae Freeman, with an absolutely unbelievable season. He scored 317 points. The receiver who had right around there was 319 points. That was the number 5 wide receiver in Odell Beckham. Receivers just score more points in PPR.
Yeah, but then I can break that argument down really easily with the whole
position scarcity
argument. But
I agree.
But that's why. That's why you're thinking about that. I would say leave yourself open to it, see what's on the board, and react. I don't like it. One of the things people have written us about the Ultimate Draft Kit, which, they love the kit, but then occasionally 1 or 2 people will be like, why don't you say what round to pick them in? Well, because we don't know what round they'll be there in.
Right.
We don't know who's drafting around you. We don't know what the rosters in your league will look like. If we tell you go always draft Doug Martin in the 2nd round, I mean, that doesn't give you the flexibility to react in your draft.
And I'll say this for PPR. I mean, that's the scenario where a 0 RB draft strategy can work. But let's say I'm going to go 0 RB, and then 7 other members of your league are going 0 RB.
Yep.
That's not going to work so well.
No.
Because the top end wide receivers are going to be gone.
No, but that does make, Adrian Peterson's a real nice 8th round pick. All right, let's go ahead and go to a voicemail question. I said it before. You can submit questions on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. There's a submit a question button in the upper right, and then you can leave us a voicemail at 302-464-TFFB. Let's jump into a voicemail question.
What's up, guys? Scuba Steve. Got a keeper question for you. Got a
Scuba
10-man auction league, PPR, 2-quarterback league. I have a $250 budget for my auction and my keepers. I can keep up to 5. At David Johnson at $30. David Johnson!
Nice.
Beckham Jr. at $10. I got Devonta Freeman at $10. Shady at $30. And I have Cooper at 29, Carr at 8, and Kelce at 1. So I need 5 from that list. Best value possible. Thank you so much, guys.
All right.
That was a tremendous David Johnson.
That was very good. You could hear the pause beforehand. It was like
he had to gear up. He wasn't sure if he should go for it, but
which is good. You don't rush it, man.
You went for it and you killed it, young man.
Young man. Good.
Everyone's a young man now.
So he says David Johnson's locked in.
Okay.
For me, Odell Beckham Jr. and Devonta Freeman are locked in.
Locked in. You know who else is locked in for me?
Shady McCoy.
I was going to say Travis Kelce for $1.
Okay, and then I would go with McCoy.
Are you going to go – you're going to take McCoy over Carr for $8 in a 2-quarterback?
Oh, I missed Carr. Yeah, you're right. I would actually go Kelce and Carr.
So you're going
DJ, ODB, Freeman, Kelce, and Carr.
I think that's the way I see it.
All right. And then you have flexibility. You can go spend a little money if you want to get, if you go get Shady back for 35 or 40, who cares?
Yep.
You're saving so much on those other positions. All right. You want to read this one?
We got a tiebreaker question. This is Sean in Augusta.
It's where the Masters is played.
Well, I was debating, do I see if people get that reference or not?
The Masters?
No. Augusta.
Oh, I don't get that reference.
Yeah,
so.
Okay. So if anybody gets that reference,
you like to
tweet it at
Easter egg references in
Augusta
that only a few. But it's nice.
I'll be
good.
really impressed if someone gets that.
Yeah.
All right. What is the best tiebreaker to use in a fantasy league? Total points, head-to-head, average week removing top and bottom scores. In one league, we take the weekly head-to-head and see who had the better record of the two teams if they played every single week. Any ideas, and how do you handle a 3-way tie? I assume this is for end of season. I love Michael
Keaton. All right. Okay. It's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's an important one to answer now, not to answer in week 16 when one of you already knows the answer to the question when you're figuring out your answer. In our league, we use total points.
For me, it's
I don't know if that's
points.
better, though, because I really, really like finding a way to make it head-to-head.
Yeah. Look,
and not like just the fact you played 2 matchups against each other. Like I'm curious about the strategy of, okay, you take the weekly head-to-head. Who would have had the better record if you played each other every week?
Yeah,
but that might be too complex.
If you're
and
gonna
not
go,
reward the total points.
If you're gonna go every single week, I can be okay with that. That's fun. But I love the head-to-head aspect of fantasy football. That's why we do the weekly matchups. But if you get to the end and people are tied, I'm going with total points because that's just someone has proven they consistently have the better team and they're not just squeaking out a victory against Maybe they lucked into the person who had the lowest points of the week. So I love going with total points to break the tie.
All right. I think you're right. Pete in New Jersey. Hey, guys, love the show. Why aren't more people believing in Brock Osweiler?
The Brockness monster.
The Brockness monster. He's obviously not in the QB1 discussion, but with all the weapons on offense like Hopkins and Fuller and Strong and Miller and Lamar and Braxton. Wait, both Millers. That's what he was saying. Miller time. That's what they should call them.
Miller time. Oh, love it.
Would you draft him as your backup fantasy quarterback in a keeper league? I think he could be a great boom or bust value. Well, yeah, I would do that. I'd be okay drafting him as a backup quarterback in a keeper league.
Well, it's a two-keeper. I mean, it depends on the size of the
I guess
bench.
I was thinking dynasty, actually.
In a dynasty team, he's great. I actually have him on one of my dynasty teams. But the problem with Brock compared to like Hoyer, they had Hoyer last year, and Hoyer proved to be great for fantasy purposes if you wanted to stream him in the right matchup because Hoyer would air it out to DeAndre Hopkins. We've seen Brock choose not to do that. If you go back to the third down play in the preseason week 1, he just checks it down. I mean, you have nothing to lose by bombing it out to your star players, and I feel like that's what I saw from him in Denver. So until he is willing to unleash the beast, unleash the full potential of the Brockness monster, I can't endorse him in a smaller league format.
Sure. Yeah, you need to see it. And to me, he's a former ASU guy. He was out here. We liked him.
He's very tall.
He's super tall, but that's what I was going to bring up. His arm strength does not match his body type and size, in my opinion. And that, I think, is and he's paid, especially on this type of a team, to be more Alex Smith than Jay Cutler, okay? We all love taking chances, but he's paid to come in and not lose the game.
Right.
And I think he can not lose a game better than Brian Hoyer. There's a reason Hoyer can put up good fantasy numbers and not have a job. And that's because he took too many chances. And they don't want him to do that. And so for that reason, and all the tape he's ever produced in his entire life as a player, those are the reasons why I can't be super confident as a fantasy quarterback.
At least for now. The great news about Osweiler to me is if you see the first 2 weeks that maybe he's changed that and he's going to say, hey, Hopkins, go get it. People will not buy in, and you'll be able to pick him up off the waiver wire.
Alex Smith or Brock Osweiler?
Smith.
Yeah, me too. All right, Jeremy in Detroit says in a 14-team league, picking 13th, it's a PPR league, what combo would you go with at the end of the first and top of the second? So basically he is what?
In a 14-team PPR.
Okay, and he wants a 14-team mock.
Well, maybe. We'll
Possibly.
see. We'll see what we can do.
We'll do at least one more, maybe 2 more mocks before the regular season.
Right. And this is, look, for me, if I'm at the edge, especially in a 14-team, I want a running back. That's how I play. I believe in the positional scarcity that I have a better, stronger team if I get the running back who's going to hit. And I always believe that the guy I draft is going to hit. So when I'm at the edge at the beginning, I almost always split. I'll have a running back and a wide receiver.
Okay, what's the next question here?
We got Donnie in Houston, Texas. How close do you pay attention to drafting players with the same bye week?
I would say very, very little.
Yes.
Why is that? The reason that is because, to be honest with you, I probably won't have all these players when I reach the bye weeks. That's reason number one. I am, a very active trader and waiver wire signing, and I feel like if you overemphasize bye weeks, you are being distracted by something that really doesn't matter. I think there are occasions when that's really important. MFL 10 leagues, for example, are
in a best ball where you don't change your roster.
You have to do that. There also could be a situation where, if you were going to draft, 2 tight ends that you really believed had upside and you didn't want to, some position that you might not turn over during the year, maybe you pay attention to that. But again, my roster's going to change so much. Why in the world would I let this determine that?
Never draft a lesser talent because you think that the bye week is a problem. Like Andy's saying, these guys who have the bye-pocalypse that is coming this year is towards, like week 9, 10. I can't recall it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But by the time that comes up, you're going to have waiver wire replacements who can fill in for the bye week, or you'll have such a strong team from your draft, you'll have a replacement for the bye week. Don't freak out about them.
You do not have more. You have basically 2 teams in week 4, 4 in week 5, then 2 in week 6, 2 in week 7. So you don't really reach these multi-bye weeks until week 8 of the season.
That's when it gets dangerous.
And then you've got a couple of huge ones. You
Yeah.
have 6 teams and then 6 teams the next 2 weeks. But at that point, your team's different. So
Yes.
at that point, you can pay more attention to
Yep.
it. What is this one?
So
Weight
wait,
loss promo?
This is from David in Ohio. I have forced myself to only listen to the podcast while I exercise. Since the beginning of August, with 5 episodes weekly, I've lost 10 pounds in a little over 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I think you guys should make a protein shake and also market the podcast as a weight loss program. It works.
my gosh.
Thank you, David. And hey, you know what, David? Good for you, man. Congratulations.
That's a great incentive.
We need
If you
to
want
get,
your fantasy, dude.
I need one of those the desk bikes
Yeah.
that I can just run on. I'm gonna
Yeah,
run
you can run on top of the bike. That'd be
so
weird.
I can ride
That's like
the-
a circus performer.
I'm gonna ride the bike while we're doing the podcast, and it's just I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so sweaty.
Yeah, that'll be good for nobody. Back to back,
Good for my health, Andy. Thanks a lot.
I think that might be in question. I don't know what the under desk bike success rates are. Is that pretty solid?
I don't know the market.
What if you could earn fab dollars by doing it?
Riding the bike?
Yeah. What if your league you could earn trading value points or fab dollars?
If I can earn fab dollars by riding the bike,
This is a
when I come in, you'll be like, is that Lance Armstrong or is that Mike Wright? Because I'm gonna be so fit and I'm gonna have so many fab dollars.
I'm telling you, we are inventing a product on the air right now. This is the Pokemon Go of fantasy football. Everything you do in real life is directly correlative. How about before you get a trade, you have to go to an actual like a Pokemon gym. You know what I mean? We'll have buildings that are for trades only.
I like where this is going.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
All right. Back-to-back running back question from Iman Kavanaugh in Oak Park, Illinois. Would you endorse going back-to-back RBs in the first 2 rounds if they are both Tier 1 players?
And this is a standard league.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna hear me.
Please do that.
You're gonna hear me break down the numbers in tomorrow's tips and tricks about people being afraid of running backs in the first round.
And you shouldn't be as much as you are.
Yes.
So we'll get into that tomorrow, though. That's a good point. All right, let's go to B-Jam. B-Jam has a voicemail question for you.
B-Jam?
Yeah, B-Jam. Here you go.
Hey guys, this is B-Jam in
Yeah.
St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm in a 10-team 4-keeper league, half-point PPR. I had my 4-keeper set. I was keeping Jonathan Stewart in the 6th, John Brown in the 8th, Jeremy Langford in the 10th, Kelvin Benjamin in the 14th. That is not a waiver pickup. It was our first draft last year. I snagged him in the 14th.
Nice.
However, I recently just traded for Mike Evans in the 4th. So for sure I'm going to keep Mike Evans in the 4th, Kelvin in the 14th. Between the other 3, what 2 would you keep? I do have the 2nd pick in the first round, and I know Jamal Charles.
All right, so he cut off there, but we got the gist of the question.
I thought you were being extremely rude.
I did not cut him off.
I believe you did.
Well, I did not. So Jonathan Stewart for a 6, John Brown for an 8, or Jeremy Langford for a 10, and needs 2 of them, right?
Yes.
He said which 2 of those
Yes.
3. So I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's why I kept it in there, despite the fact he hung up on me very rudely.
Allegedly.
For me, Jonathan Stewart in the 6 is an incredible value. I
Love
love
it.
him in the 4th, so I'm going to love him in the 6th. At this point, you're looking at
Johnny Brown, Smoke.
or Langford. And to be honest, I'm going to go with Langford. You've already got Evans and Kelvin wrapped up. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I know it's not
man.
fun, Mike, to draft Jeremy Langford. Nobody likes it,
Jeremy Langford and Matt Jones.
but he's just there. He's out there.
I know. That's the
He
problem.
plays football for a franchise in the NFL at the running back position.
So do a lot of guys.
So do a lot of guys. Alfred Blue.
Yeah. I'll take the chance that Jeremy Langford produces fantasy value. No, it's so gross.
Look, you have Evans and Kelvin, though.
Yeah. Look, BJM and John Brown. I mean, you're getting a little bit of value, but you can, if you want Brown, you can go ahead and grab him, or maybe even a better wide receiver. But he was saying at number 2, does he take Jamal Charles? So do you take Johnny Brown at 8 and then take up Jamal Charles with your 2nd pick? It depends on who
yeah,
the best players
that's
are on the
fine.
board.
I mean, I lean Stewart and Langford.
Stewart. I'm
Stewart.
going. No, I'm taking Johnny Brown and Charles at 2.
All right. There you go. No help at all. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you have a question, go to the website. We've got a lot going on this week. And like I said, don't miss tomorrow's episode. The top 10 tips and tricks for 2016.
It's gonna be hot.
Yeah, you gotta get off this like Trump huge thing you say now all the time.
I pulled back and I said it was gonna be hot.
Yeah, you did change it. Thank you. So it's gonna be really good. We'll have Jason back on the show tomorrow.
Maybe.
We'll talk to you then. How's that?
Hey, check out fantasyjocks.com for all your trophy, your draft board, your championship belt needs with promo code BALLERS.
Boom.
Check them out.
And stay tuned for the show after the show on YouTube.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.